on. Shiver me timbers. Shiver me timbers. Captain Jack Sparrow back in the dock. Or is he in the dock? No, it's Amber Heard who's in the dock. Who's been watching? Who's been watching? Hello, Jordan Stevenson, Gabrielle, Claire Elford, Laura Dion. If you haven't already, do subscribe to the channel. Obviously, there's no court case for Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. It's Bank Holiday Monday here, but it's not Bank Holiday Monday in America. So we will be back giving you, or I'll be back giving you a warts and all, blow-by-blow account of what happens on Monday. Now, the reason it gets exciting next week is Amber Heard is probably testifying next week. So we're going to finally hear from her. So we've got to bear in mind, as we unpack what's happening in all these days. Hi, everyone. Hi, Laurel Nichols. Hi, Amy May. The Jellies. Hello, the Jellies. As we unpack what we're doing, all of the witnesses that we're hearing at the moment, Mr. Connolly, they are all witnesses or people who are testifying brought to the court on behalf of Johnny Depp. So you've got to understand that they're all going to be skewing towards Johnny Depp, apart from obviously when they're, cross-examined by Amber's defense team. Ellie Groves says, "Come on, Amber." Who's that?
There's three people in this marriage. Me, Mark,
and Amber.
And Donny Osmond trial.
Donny Osmond. Oh, look, that's really creepy when you emerged. Look, you emerged from the dark depths.
This is what we call the doghouse in here.
Yes, the doghouse. Mwah. All right, shiver me timbers.
I've got to go to bed.
Go and walk the plank.
Tomorrow. You nutter addicts.
Yeah.
You can all hang out together.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Take care.
Good night.
Lots of love.
Missing you already.
Yeah. I'll be.
Ask them if they call their poos grumpies now.
Do you call your poos grumpies? Nadia's off to go and do a grumpy. Don't do a grumpy in the bed. Don't do it in the bed. Oh, she's taking a shit in the bed again. She must stop that. It's ever since this woman, Amber Heard, did it. So, what was I saying? We've got to be careful. I tell you what's really hard about this. Someone said earlier today, I saw someone post something saying, there's so much serious shit going on elsewhere. Why are people fixating on this? I'll tell you why we're fixating on this. It's a total distraction. It's operating in the higher echelons of Hollywood rarefied life. It's unrelated to anything any of us are going through or doing or living through, and it's total escapism. And to be brutally honest, it's like streaming on acid or on magic mushrooms, like Amber Heard was at Coachella. So it's a distraction. It's an escape. It's not a prioritizing of something that's sort of pointless and ephemeral over something that's fundamental and important. We're attending to the important, but we're also looking to things that can slightly just take us away from the harsh realities of life. So, and as I said to Nads on the live just then, no one's going to prison in this case, but I think Johnny's got everything to play for. He's trying to remove this moniker that he's a domestic abuser or a wife batterer. And I think, some people are saying, is it right or is it wrong that they're broadcasting this, that they're filming it? I don't think Johnny is aiming or interested in winning his $50 million litigation or his defamation or defecation, his $50 million or anything. Whereas I think $100 million for nuisance would be quite useful for Amber Heard. I think he wants people to hear the evidence that it's even if there's still question marks over his sort of mental state, that there are also serious question marks over her mental state too. As I just said on the Instagram live, we found out today Franco and Musk are not going to be testifying. We also had leading psychologists in the UK claiming that the Dr. Curry's assessment of Amber Heard as being having borderline histrionic syndrome and borderline personality syndrome, they're not conditions, they're psychiatric labels, and she's wanting there's a push to have those almost diagnoses removed. I just want to talk, just before we talk about the actual people who talked today. No, don't watch it in real time. That would be all afternoon. No, you watch it in speed up and then you move through it later in the day. What I'm really curious to know is when you've got the objectionable, what's his name? Is it Rottenhorn? Or is that just wishful thinking? He's got a rotten horn. Is he rotten? I don't care what his name is, whether he's Rottenhorn, whether he's working for, I wouldn't care less if it was Johnny Depp or Amber Heard. I'm not saying this because, basically, I'm not saying this because it's Rottenborn. Rottenborn. Oh, God, it tells you everything, doesn't it? Even if Rottenborn was defending Johnny Depp, what an arsehole. what an absolute arsehole. He's clearly rattled. He's clearly on the ropes. Their defence is woefully lacking in any substance, nor, I hate to use the phrase, any sort of killer evidence beyond hearsay. I mean, they're very fast on saying hearsay, hearsay, hearsay. But it's all on hearsay. Come on, we haven't seen anything. And so, but I wonder, when there's a jury sat there, are they all sitting there thinking, Rottenborn's an absolute fuck? What a nasty fuck. I mean, I'd find it really hard to sit there and not think, no, hang on, he bullied that. He was really bullying that witness. No, he's really bullying that witness too. So it must feed in. Whereas I feel that there's a kind of more sort of roll with the punches approach and attitude to Johnny Depp's counsel. Though, as I say, that might well be very different when they're examining Amber's, witnesses and testifiers and all that kind of stuff. Hanny, this trial is so boring. You must be watching something else. This is one of the most exciting trials ever. What are you talking about? Johnny Depp taking 8 hours to say a sentence. What's boring about that? No, you're right. Today at times was a bit challenging, but hey, this is the real world, isn't it? As someone said earlier, what do you want it to just be wall-to-wall drama? Well, kind of. Yeah, we do. Reese Roberts, Amber Heard is apparently going to have less than 10 minutes screen time in the upcoming Aquaman sequel. Also, Paul Bettany is back in New York, so he should be testifying. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Paul Bettany. Doorman, driving and vaping. Well, so the first guy who was in, and this was a very dry, one sort of waded through a lot of his contributions. This was the guy who's the chief operating officer of the charity that she allegedly she promised or pledged 7 million, was it, that she pledged to the sort of a domestic abuse foundation, if you like. And it transpires that she promised 3.5 million and she delivered something in the region of 1.2 million. Is that right? Promised to, yeah. And 350,000 of that was from Amber Heard, whereas the other 850,000, some of that was from Johnny Depp. And it begins to transpire today that a lot of that also came indirectly from Elon Musk, who, as we've discovered, Amber Heard was having a bit of with, even though Elon Musk didn't realise that it was more of a tweet than a sort of, a long-term thing. And so yeah, she tapped basically tech billionaire for a bit of cash. That went into that went to the foundation. So essentially, long and short of it was, a big part of this is that this foundation that she'd promised money to, re domestic abuse and all that kind of stuff, to think of it as a charitable organisation, they were the organisation that helped facilitate the article that Amber Heard wrote that is at the centre of this case. And at the centre of this case is whether this article, I think for the Washington Post, whether this article written by Amber Heard, although it doesn't name Johnny Depp, whether it had a dramatic impact and defamed him and essentially interrupted, destroyed and wrecked his career, Pirates of the Caribbean, etc. A little bit like the Sun trial last year, which was not about whether he was a wife batterer, but about whether the Sun could use the term wife batterer. These are semantics, I realise. Both these trials are in a sense proxy trials about technicalities which are being used to kind of win a bigger war. And so there is PR at the back of all of this. Tracy Smith, if Johnny Depp was guilty, he would not have asked for this court trial to be public. I think you're right. I think there's a lot of truth in that, because it seems to be rolling that way. Liz Ritchie, Rottenborn is secretly in love with Johnny. My problem with Rottenborn comes up when he was interviewing or cross-examining Johnny Depp's business manager. But anyway, so this guy, head of the foundation that she'd promised money to, she hasn't given the money. Of the money that has been given, most of it's come from Musk, some of it's come from Depp, a little bit's come from Amber Heard. This foundation was instrumental in this article being written, and in the writing of this article, the guy, the head of the foundation, admitted that the lawyers at the foundation were trying to minimise how directly the article referred to Johnny Depp. And yet he testified that Amber Heard wanted to, in his words, artfully, sorry, I can't read my own, artfully reset the language regarding the restraining order. So she wanted to artfully she wanted to take it as close as she could to identifying Johnny Depp in this piece without legally identifying Johnny Depp and getting into all sorts of legal issues, to the point that one of the other communications officers in the foundation described it as a sort of the nightmare of Amber Heard's article. So basically the long and the short of it was, her defense is saying this article's got nothing to do with Johnny Depp's reputation being in tatters. The foundation that she hadn't paid any money to but said she was going to was saying she was doing everything she could to identify Johnny Depp in this, and if she was doing that, then clearly it's safe to assume that it's about Johnny Depp. You see what I mean? It's all getting a bit ridiculous. So I think it's we know it's about Johnny Depp, but her defense are trying to pretend that it isn't. The reliability of Amber Heard's character, that she didn't give the money to the foundation, all of this is creating a sort of web of unreliability, unbelievability, and flakeability, if such a phrase exists. Karen T, I'm wondering if Amber will say she now realises she was ill and now wants to settle out of court. Is that possible? Yeah, that's a good question. Abby Washburn, I'm training as a criminal defence lawyer and her team's skills are questionable, especially considering the level of advocates they're supposed to be having represented high-profile individuals. I entirely agree. Karen Ula, we will get to the questioning of Karen Ula. That one particular question was quite shocking, and we'll mention that. The next person, I'm just moving kind of chronologically through the day, the next person on the stand was a sweet guy, Edward White. Was that his name, Edward or Edmund White? Johnny's business manager, charging £710 an hour even to be in the dock, though he said he wasn't. Have you noticed the way in which the defence attorney, Amber's defence, all they keep saying is, are you working for Johnny Depp? Yes. Are you loyal to Johnny? These are character witnesses. They've sworn on the Bible that they're going to tell the truth. And everyone has some connection to someone. I'm sure half the people they're going to trot out for Amber Heard, you'll be able to say, are you related to Amber Heard? Yeah. So have you got a vested interest in Amber Heard? Yeah. Do you like, even with the police, were you impressed by the size of the penthouse? Yeah. Have you ever seen a Johnny Depp movie? Yeah. I mean, come on. Yes, they work for him, but they're entitled to that. Does that mean they're not honourable? Does that mean they're not honourable by dint of the fact that they just work for him? I think it's a ludicrous lie. But they do. Have you noticed they do it with every single witness? How much are you paid? Who pays you? How long have you known Johnny? Happens with all of them. Anyway, this business manager was responsible for trying to rectify Johnny Depp's entire financial mess, shenanigans, owed money for tax, owed money for outstanding wine bills. Bottles of wine for $500 a pop. Apparently they were Amber Heard's favourite. They were Amber Heard's favourite bottles of wine. He owed $160,000 to a wine merchant in LA. Anyway, the long and the short of it is, this guy was brought in to resolve this problem. This guy, the business manager, was the guy that Johnny was having the intense meeting with. Do you remember when he was like given this shock announcement that his entire empire was about to kind of crumble at the seams on Amber's birthday, and Amber was pissed off that he was not giving her the full attention because he'd got all this terrible news. Well, the business manager confirms this was the night that it was. They homed in on, was it catastrophic news or not catastrophic news? Johnny said it was catastrophic news. The business manager said not catastrophic news. And again, they homed in on that word as if to suggest, oh, it wasn't that catastrophic, so who's exaggerating? Maybe to Johnny it was catastrophic, but because this man is a finance man and could see a way out, he didn't see it as catastrophic. I think that's kind of, clearly Amber's team wanted to portray Depp as profligate, spending on everything, spending more than he was earning, all that kind of stuff. But the most significant part, Millie Clark, of this chap was he wanted to explain himself further, and Rottenborn, who is born of rotten, just not only interrupted him, but the guy couldn't get the first sentence out. Did anyone see that, hear that, watch that, tolerate that? I mean, surely surely the jury will have been like, well, hang on. And there was one moment where they had to they sidebarred, didn't they? Where Johnny Depp's counsel said, hang on a minute, this is getting a bit too much. If I'd been in there, I was Captain Jack Sparrow. I'd have got my cutlass out, slammed it on the table, and said, come on, let's parlay. What a knob, Karen. I've written here, I wrote here, what a bully. What an absolute cock. In amongst all my really erudite kind of analysis, I've just got cock. Look, there it is, look. Look, just there. Cock. Not allowing him to talk and all that kind of stuff. And then really, so these were the two starters for the day, weren't they? Those were the kind of the hors d'oeuvres. Is it the hors d'oeuvres at the beginning? Yeah, those are the sort of the appetizers. They were the side, the small plates, all that kind of stuff. But then the main event walked in the form of the security guard, Mr. Connolly, Scottish and in Essex, and he had one of those heads that was just so reliable and dependable, didn't he? It's just like, yeah. Well, that's right. That's right. I've been a security guy for 48 years. That's right. I loved him. And it was so funny watching the Law and Crime channel. All these Americans underneath were commenting, he's Irish. He's Irish. No, he's a bloke you don't want to get on the wrong side of. And I even felt that Amber's counsel were a little bit squeaky bum time with him. Brilliant line of the day, Jordan Stevenson. When he was asked, have you seen Johnny Depp drunk? He said, not as drunk, was it? Jack Sparrow is more, because Johnny's been on the wagon a lot more in recent years. He said, Captain Jack Sparrow has been more drunk than Johnny. Was more drunk than Johnny. So this guy's been looking after Johnny in public for ages. He's a security guard. I loved it. He said, I'm all about seeing. I'm all about watching. I'm all about scanning. And he'd scan and he'd look and he'd watch. And that shut the Rottenborn fucker up, didn't it? Even though it wasn't Rottenborn questioning him at this point. Oh yeah, so he talked about a couple of occasions. One on a private flight where he saw Amber Heard throw a lighter at Johnny. Hardly domestic abuse, but she threw a lighter at him. So yeah, there you go. And he remembers in another instance at the Loft Apartments in LA, her throwing a soda can. There's a lot of dispute as to whether it was a Coke can or not, but it was just a soda can. And he escorted Johnny out. His job is basically to make sure everywhere's safe before people go in, and make sure he gets Johnny out safely. What a job. He talked about how he'd often see marks and scratches on Johnny Depp. And there was, for me, I'm not too sure if too much has been made of this, but there was a photograph on the... Who saw the photograph on the Orient Express for Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's honeymoon? Anyone see that? On their honeymoon, there was a photograph that Mr. Connolly took, the Scotsman living in Essex, who you would really not want to get on the wrong side of because he used to work in a prison. Shiver me timbers. Did anyone see the photo? And they zoomed in on the photo, and there's Johnny with a black eye and sort of a lump on his cheek and something else. He didn't look at all happy. Oh, I've got hiccups. So he saw that Johnny wasn't happy on the Orient Express. He went on to try and talk about how Amber Heard had huge demands on having her own table, but they closed her down on that. They were like, hearsay, speculation. And I love this. They talked about how much Mr. Connolly knew about Johnny's drug taking. He said he'd seen him take spliff. He'd seen him drink and get drunk, though he never really got drunk. Captain Jack Sparrow was more drunk than Johnny. That got a huge laugh from the audience. The courtroom. And he said that he maybe went off now and then to take cocaine in the toilets. And there was a lovely detail where he said, no, he wouldn't compromise me professionally. And I get that sense from Johnny. Have you noticed how Johnny smiles and laughs about ordinary folk? I mean, he may be so out of touch with the world, with the riches of his career, but you still feel that he can plug into real people. I'm losing my throat. And that photo was telling. Then he talked about them going to this place, Hicksville, that sounds amazing, and Joshua Tree Park. I said, Hicksville, I want to go to these smashed out things. They take mushrooms, they dance around the fire. This is allegedly where Johnny Depp got a bit antsy about a woman trying to hit upon Amber. Mr. Connolly was there. He escorted them over to their trailer. They were all taking, I think they were taking all sorts of drugs and drink and all that kind of stuff. Once again, and then they got them to Australia. Then Connolly went to Australia, where there's the infamous severed finger story or event, and Connolly was there too because he was his security personnel. Did you notice they asked again about Marilyn Manson? It's like when you're struggling, just say, "Oh, did Marilyn Manson come round?" Are they just going to do that every time they've got fuck all to say? Oh yeah, did Marilyn Manson come in? Speculation, hearsay. What about Marilyn Manson? Was he in Australia? Did Marilyn... I don't know if fucking Marilyn... I mean, Mr. Connolly was like, I don't know. He might have done. I don't know if he saw Marilyn Manson. Just because he did. The most wonderfulest quote from days ago was when Johnny Depp was with Marilyn Manson, he had to give him a pill, I don't know, MDMA or ecstasy, just to shut him the fuck up. That's how, I just love that image. Shut Marilyn Manson up. But obviously, I've said it before, they're trying to align his milieu, his world, his coterie of people. They're all like Marilyn Manson, and Marilyn Manson's currently in the case with Rachel Evan Woods. He doesn't look pretty. He doesn't look great. I mean, Christ almighty. Talk about red flag walking towards you, Marilyn Manson. Oh yeah, I think I'll go out with you. So they tried that little trick. Then there was another trick. Did anyone notice this? Where they said to him, but Johnny, was it Rottenborn? But Johnny Depp was urinating. Johnny Depp had his penis out. Everyone in the court was like, you saw, even Amber Heard was like, hang on a minute, I don't remember that. Did anyone else hear that? Laurel Nichols, they're floundering. I agree. Draw with Cameron Smith. The trial is about Johnny getting his side of the story out. They will both come out the other side of this with labels, both good and bad. This is mutually assured destruction. Kind of agree, but at the same time, I don't think Johnny's got anything to lose, so I think it will only be slightly mutually constructive for him. Oh, Anne H., if they say correct again at the end of every single question. I think the business manager at one point said, yes, you're correct. Wasn't that a reach? Talk about reaching. I mean, speculation, hearsay, foundation, something else or something else. Hang on a minute. You just went from something that we all know about, which was, finger off, coming out, pulling him out, putting him in a car, Amber screaming, to penis out, urinating everywhere. O'Connolly was having none of it. No, not at all. No way. No, he didn't have his penis out. No way. He was trying to drag him out. Then they talked about, well, did you drag him out? And he was like, no, I let him go. We're getting to the point where they're going to start asking questions like, do you have a hand? Yeah. Do you use it to grab things? Yes. What did you grab? I didn't grab him. Why didn't you grab him? Can you prove that you didn't grab him? Did you take a photo of not grabbing him? Did he take a photo of him not hitting her? Do you have any photos? This is one question they asked the police. Did you take any photos of the lack of evidence? What? So the Depp, the Depp urinating bit, penis in hand, God only knows what that was all about. Mr. Connolly said, I think I'd remember if he was urinating. Johnny Depp was strong enough to walk away. And then, Reese, as you just said, so you wouldn't know if he was strangling Miss Heard around her neck. Go back to watch that. It's about 20 minutes before the end of the day. Johnny Depp does this. He literally goes, oh, wow. Like, okay, I suppose the suggestion was that what led up to Johnny having a bruise? Was that a last-minute thought-through defence? I'm going to have to get some water. Hold on. Oh, that's better. Did Amber lean across and say, oh my God, they've got a photo of where I smashed him in his face? Or as Mr. O'Connolly said, he either had an accident with a door. Was it? He hit a door? Oh no, he's either walked into a door or a door walked into him. That got the Americans roaring with laughter. Roaring. So, I don't know. What will they do with Mr. O'Connolly? Are they just gonna, Mr. Connolly? They're just gonna dismiss everything because he was his security personnel. And then, of course, the last witness on the stand today, it was Mr. Jenkins, who was the executive chauffeur and security guy. A couple of things that was interesting about this guy. He went to the flats in downtown LA. Amber Heard told him she chucked all of Johnny's belongings out off the balcony and onto the street. He had to go and rescue them. He said it was like, on one statement at the last trial, he said he found it beneath the balcony. Then he said it was 6 miles away. I think he gifted Amber's defense team there a sort of an inconsistency in his witness statement. Didn't really understand that, though he didn't seem fazed by it. Maybe what he meant was it fell off the balcony, it was down there somewhere, a homeless person found John. Imagine being the homeless person had Johnny's phone. I want to meet the guy who got the chicken. He was bought chicken and given $420 by Mr. Jenkins for having Johnny's phone. It's weird to think that somewhere in downtown LA there's a homeless guy who doesn't realise that he is instrumental, was probably holding the one thing that would answer everything. Even in witness statement, he mentioned some street name never mentioned below balcony. That statement was rectified, says SR in Alaska. That was kind of sorted out in the redirect. I think it kind of was, Liz. I think it kind of was. I like that. So, you know, you invite a witness in, they say what they say, you get them to say it, someone cross-examines, pulls it to pieces, and then you're allowed to come back in and reconstruct and rebuild it. I like that. But the weirdest thing about Mr. Jenkins, I'm going to get this out before my voice fails me, is that he says that Amber Heard openly said the defecation on the bed was a practical joke that went wrong. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, and call me old-fashioned, and maybe call me prudish, or conservative and a bit of a lily-livered twat. But if she really has taken a shit on the bed, and it sounds, looks and feels like it must have done it, but I haven't felt it, you're dealing with someone who surely has got something wrong with her, which is far worse than borderline personality disorder and histrionic disorder. I wasn't expecting the grumpy on the bed to pop up again. I wasn't expecting the grumpy on the bed to rear its ugly head. There's an image to conjure with. But it did. It came back up. It came back out and it landed. Never before has a turd been so talked about. Anyway, so he claimed that she mentioned the defecation. He claimed that he took, well, he didn't claim, he said he took her and her sister to Coachella. This was the morning after, obviously, she'd had a row with Johnny. I think they were trying to connect it to the row. Was it the row the morning after the row when the policeman came round? I think it's all connected to that. I think it felt like it was the same event. Unless you're writing down all the dates and remembering them all, it's ridiculous. And he said that she was sick, incredibly sick, from taking magic mushrooms at Coachella. Now, no one decries. I mean, fine, go and take magic mushrooms and drink wine. But I think it's interesting to know that she clearly was a partaker of the narcotics and a connoisseur of the 500-pound a bottle wine. So I think it's fair to say that the imbibing and intoxicating wasn't just a Johnny thing. I think that's what is trying to be established here. In the cross-examination of this chap, yeah, I felt that Amber's team, I think one of Amber's key cards that they keep trying to play, I want to read some of your comments in a minute, so get your thoughts in now, is that the suggestion of any loyalty to Johnny Depp or any economic dependence on Johnny Depp essentially renders their defence or their testimony null and void. And it's hard to know how you can knock that into the long grass. I mean, I said at the beginning, I ranted about the fact that just because they're his employees doesn't mean they're not honourable or trustworthy or that they're not saying the truth. Absolutely not. But it is hard. You know, the jury is going to have to take into account that these people are skewing Johnny wise, and presumably we're going to have the same happening with all of the people that they bring forward for Amber Heard. Todd Depew, Amber's drug and drink tolerance apparently much lower than Johnny's. Absolutely. Yeah, and there was a suggestion again from Amber Heard's team that perhaps Mr. Jenkins, the last witness there, was mistaken because Amber Heard's sister, who was pregnant, was vomiting in a car park. So, dare I say that maybe, you know, could it have been that Amber's sister was also off her nuts on mushrooms, even though she was pregnant? I don't know. Don't want to cast aspersions, do we? Wouldn't want to say that. Wouldn't want to infer that. I mean, pretending that the article that Amber Heard wrote isn't about Johnny Depp is a little bit like, by day 11 of this trial, pretending the trial isn't about Johnny and Amber. Do you know what I mean? It's fucking ludicrous. Paul Bettany. Paul Bettany is coming up. I'm going to be fascinated to see Paul Bettany testify. Hani Ali, Mark, the defence are twisting the truth because he said the finding location was different than when the actual phone was found. But, you know, that's their job. Their job is to find inconsistencies. And I think it's our job and the jury's job to work out, is that an inconsistency? For example, there was one, wasn't there, with the business manager, with the bullied business manager by Rottenborn. Born Rotten, I'm going to call him. Where the business manager said he didn't recall ever being told that Johnny was late for set on Pirates of the Caribbean. Then they pull up a text going, there you are, you're being told that he was late. He wasn't given a chance to explain that away. My defence of that would be, who the fuck's going to remember every single text I've been sent? You know, we're not talking about a crime scene here. You know, this is one of the other challenging things for these witnesses, is like when they're challenged by Amber's defence team, wow, you said this and you said that. We're not talking about criminal activities. It's like being asked, like the doorman vaping and pulling off in the car. It's like, with no reason to, being told, can you tell me who walked through the door on this day back 6 years ago? When at the time there was nothing notable or dramatic about it in the first place. Do you know what I mean? Gabrielle, the only real evidence is the recordings, the footage. The photograph, I thought, on the Orient Express for me was a headline today. It was a headline today of today's sort of trial, if you like. So there you go. There you go. It was sodding years ago. I can't remember every detail from last week, says Nikki. Never mind years ago. Thoughts on Rottenborn saying that's interesting about Sean, Becky Smith. Yeah. Which bit was that? Who? I can't remember. Just remind me. I do remember that. He suddenly was like, oh, right, that's interesting. Yeah, we've got something there that shouldn't have been said. Yeah, there was some inconsistency somewhere. You know, when they go like that, they're going to recall the witness, aren't they? Millie Clark, have they questioned why she recorded it at all? I'm really hoping that Johnny Depp's counsel will challenge her on that. I really, really hope so. Really hope so. Yeah, just the tone of voice of Amber Heard's counsel. They've done nothing to ingratiate themselves. Nothing. You know, they've done nothing to make the jury think, oh, yeah, we'll go with you. A bit of charm, a bit of warmth, or just a bit of humour. But I think the reason they're being so objectionable is that they are slightly on the ropes. So I want to see if I can do this thing. I'm going to do it now. Look, I'm creating a poll. And I'm going to say who... Look, this is a new thing I found, courtesy of the Law and Crime channel. Who will win this trial? And I want you to vote. And I'm asking you now. It should come up at the top of your... Well, maybe it doesn't. Does it come up? Oh, it does. There you go. Who will win this trial? At the top of your live chat, you should be able to vote on who's going to win. I like this. This is exciting. This is like a quiz game. It gives me a chance also to clear my throat. God almighty, hang on. Double ginger action. Are you enjoying it? Are you enjoying it? It's quite nice having these little get-togethers, isn't it? It helps me focus the mind in terms of what's really significant. I like my favourite. How are we doing on the old? Oh, let's have a look. Oh, Johnny, 97%. 188 votes. Come on, bring in more votes. Phone up your grandparents. Phone people up and say, come on this live. He's done for the first time he's ever done a live poll. It's really exciting. 96%. Okay, we'll keep that going. Who's been your favourite, bearing in mind we've only picked this up about 5 days ago. I wish I'd seen fully Johnny's sister. Who's been what have been your top moments? Your top moments. I think the muffins moment seems to have got a lot of people laughing. The idea that, who'd have thought that the psychiatrist bringing muffins would have been a critical. I mean, that was desperation, wasn't it? That really was desperation. Let's do this every day and see if it changes it. Yeah, that's true, and see if it changes. So if someone at the end of this poll, well, no, we'll know because I'll say it. We could be able to go back to it. Amber's ex-assistant. Oh yeah. She didn't like her at all, did she? Shannon Curry was great. I am slightly concerned that these other psychologists could ask for her testimony to be struck because it's not sort of psychologically secure. What's that? What did you just say? Mr. RN, I think it's about 45% by chance JD will win, as I haven't heard Amber's side. I do hope Depp wins and Amber loses. I mean, who thinks even if Amber wins, this isn't going to play well for her? I mean, the thing is, Johnny's down on his luck anyway. Johnny's lost everything. As he said, I've lost everything. I've lost everything. When you've got nothing of it, I've got nothing of everything. I've got everything of nothing. Vape and Drive guy was a good one, wasn't he, Nicola Higgins? Ben King was excellent. Yeah, he was. Disco Bloodbath. It's got to be a song, hasn't it? It's got to be a song. Depp, however, the journey back for him to stride back into film might be a tricky one, as movie jail often has long, stretchy sentences, plus his insurance and movies will be an interesting one. That's very true. I mean, he's obviously sober enough, isn't he? He's only addicted to gummy bears, apparently, on this. Rottenborn and Arse, Elaine, rude and aggressive. Can't wait for Amber Heard on Stand. Oh my God, I mean, imagine when we all get together, guys, when Amber Heard's been on. You know what? Maybe our opinion will change. Maybe she'll be a beacon of reason and rationality. You never know. You never know. You never know. And I think it's really important that we don't look like we're rooting for only one person. But if I'm just being honest, if I'm giving my honest opinion based on what I've heard, I think a lot of it is hearsay around Johnny. I think he's an out of control, he was and has been an out of control addict. And within that, there's all sorts of room for dubious kind of shouting noises, farts, ice cream down fronts. I think a huge aspect, and you've said it, some of you have said this, a huge aspect of this that needs questioning is why is there all this footage and material of Johnny in compromised positions? Right down to, did you know, I think they will be pulling this up, because do you remember when there was the photograph of the paraphernalia of Johnny's drug box, the drink, and he kept saying, yeah, beautifully composed. Yeah, really interestingly, I think his team are probably going to tackle that. Is this how you found it? It all looks, a drug taker's table of toys and treats does not look that organised. Amber will be taking the stand for sure next week, for sure. And so let's have a look. We have 253 votes in, 640 of you watching, 400 of you not wanting to press the poll. Maybe you can't because maybe you need to be, I don't know, a subscriber or a follower or something. 95% of 257 votes, let's refresh the page, of 261 votes, 95% of you are saying Johnny will win. Okay, now's your chance to get it in. I'm going to end the poll now. There you go, 95%. Well, and thanks, guys. That's our first live poll. We might do that on Coffee Moaning a bit more. Oh, there we go. Look, it's going up. Who will win this trial? Johnny, 94%. Amber, 5%. Poll complete, 266 votes. I'm going to miss you guys. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'm so addicted to it. Oh, come on. Oh, CBD gummies, Ray. Of course they are. Okay, well, look, guys, see you in the morning. It's going to be Coffee Moaning tomorrow. It'll probably be much earlier because there's other stuff going on tomorrow. But there will be the news quiz of the week. We'll catch up on some of the pornography in the House of Commons, all that kind of stuff we're going to talk about tomorrow. I'm going to miss these, but we will be back on Monday. And that's Bank Holiday Monday. So, yeah, we'll be able to get together and have a chat through it. If you haven't, subscribe, follow the channel. There is oodles of other stuff landing on the channel. A home time vlog landed tonight. You've got movie news coming over the weekend, movie reviews, mental health chats, gardening films. When I say gardening, I've stretched the definition of gardening very, very thinly. Guys, have a lovely rest of the night and see you on the morning.